Good morning, dear students. I hope you are enjoying my online classes. And as you know, Terminal 1 is approaching very fast, and we are taking class test for your practice. The latest class test was held on 8th of August, and I am very much sure that you have done pretty well in that exam. And in this lecture, I am going to discuss with you the solution of the class test of chapter 8 and 9. So the section A was of 4 marks containing 4 questions of 1 mark each. What is the value of acceleration for uniform motion? The first question. So we all know that in uniform motion velocity remains same. If we define uniform motion when objects covers equal intervals of distances in equal intervals of time, and that is when your velocity is constant. And if velocity is constant, acceleration is equal to 0. So that is the answer of first question. What is the value of acceleration in uniform motion? That is 0. Second question, velocity of a car changes from 10 meter per second to 30 meter per second in 5 seconds. What is the value of acceleration? Second question, we know that acceleration is equal to v minus u divided by t. That is the formula. The value of v given is 30, value of u given is 10, value of t given is 5. So answer is 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4 meter per second square is the value of acceleration. Second question. Third question, define first law of motion. So according to Newton's first law of motion, any object, if it is at rest, will continue to be in rest. If it is in motion, it will continue to be in motion unless any external force is applied. That is known as first law of motion. So that is your question 3. Definition of Newton's first law of motion. Number 4. Write two differences between distance and displacement. So there are so many differences between distance and displacement. You were asked to write only two differences. They can be any two out of these, like distance is scalar while displacement is vector. Distance is always positive, 0 or positive, while displacement can be negative, positive or 0. Displacement is distance is always greater than or equal to displacement, while displacement is always less than or equal to distance. Rate of change of distance is known as speed. Speed is defined as distance by time, while velocity is defined as displacement divided by time. So out of these four differences, any two differences you can write. Coming to section B, we are having 5 questions of 2 marks each. The first question is draw velocity time graph for uniform motion. Draw velocity time graph for uniform motion. So section B, first question is of drawing the graph. We know that for uniform motion velocity time graph, we have studied position time as well as velocity time graph. In uniform motion, section B, question 5, draw velocity time graph for uniform motion. We know that in uniform motion velocity is equal to constant, so the graph is going to be a straight line parallel to time axis, because any value of velocity, say 3 meter per second, or any value is constant. So any graph which is parallel to time axis is the graph for velocity time graph for uniform motion. But you cannot draw the line on time axis itself because it will indicate 0 velocity. So except this, any line which is parallel to time axis can be considered as correct answer. You must mention time and velocity in the graph. If you will not mention it, half marks are to be deducted for this. The question 6. A bullet is fired on a wall with a velocity 100 meter per second. If the bullet stops at depth of 10 centimeter inside the wall, then find the retardation produced. Okay, let me solve it here after erasing the graph. So for question 6, we have been given u, that is 100 meter per second, and as the bullet is finally coming to rest, our final velocity is going to be 0 meter per second. The distance s is given 10 centimeter, that is 0.1 meter. Then find the retardation produced by the wall. So we are given u, we are given v, we are given s, and we need to find the acceleration. So we can use the equation 2as is equal to v square minus u square, and a will become v square minus u square divided by 2a. So putting the values in this formula, 100 square minus 0 square, that is 0, divided by 2s. a इधर है, 2s इधर डिवाइड में है, divide by 2 into the value of s is 0.1. So I will get 1, 2, 3, 4 square of 100 divided by 0.2, or multiplying both sides by 10, it will become 1 0 more, and in denominator it will become 2, 0.2. So if you will divide it, 2 5 are 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. So your answer is going to be minus 50,000 meter per second square. Minus sign is indicating the velocity is decreasing. So in this step you will write v, that is final velocity 0, minus u square, that is 100 square. Hence the answer will come in negative. Pardon me for putting u instead of v. Our u is 100 and v is 0, so acceleration is negative, which is indicating retardation. Question 7. Two balls having masses m and 2m are moving with velocity 2v and v. Calculate the ratio of their momentum. So first ball is having mass m. For first ball, if we will discuss, mass is m and velocity is 2v. So momentum will become p1 first ball, m into 2v, that is 2mv. For second ball, mass is given 2m and velocity is given v. So momentum p2 will become mass into velocity, that is again 2mv. So as p1 is 2mv, p2 is 2mv, the ratio p1 by p2 will become 2mv divided by 2mv, and they are same, so ratio is 1:1. Your answer. The 8th question, why recoil velocity of gun is much lesser than the velocity of bullet? So we know the formula of recoil velocity. In recoil velocity, capital M is the mass of gun, and let us say u is the vr is the recoil velocity of gun, and small m is the mass of bullet, and vb is the velocity of bullet. Then the formula of vr will become, this is your question number 8. So vr will become m divided by mvb. So from this formula you can see the recoil velocity of gun is inversely proportional to mass of gun. So greater the mass of gun, lesser the recoil velocity, because they are inversely proportional. So answer is because mass of gun is much higher than mass of bullet, that's why recoil velocity of gun is much lesser than velocity of bullet. The 9th question, what do you understand by momentum conservation? So momentum conservation, as we discussed in our video lectures, that total momentum of an isolated system or body remains conserved, remains same. So what is momentum conservation? The definition you can go by my video lectures. I will again define. Momentum conservation is total momentum of a system remains constant or same unless any external force is applied. Okay, so that is known as momentum conservation. तभी तो हम अपने न्यूमेरिकल सोल्व करते हैं. जैसे अगर आपके पास बिफोर firing the bullet the momentum of both gun and bullet is 0, but after firing mu momentum of gun, because gun is moving in reverse direction, so after firing the momentum must also be 0. So mu plus mv, where small m is the mass of bullet and v is the velocity, let us say it's p2, so it must also be 0. That is momentum conservation, that momentum remains same, p1 is equal to p2. You can also give the example, and by this you can calculate u is equal to minus mv by m in vector form. So minus sign is indicating the recoil velocity of gun is in the reverse direction, because if you will write mu, the mv will go on the other side and will become negative. Even if you will not write the minus sign, then it is also okay, because in 9th class you are not studying vectors that much. But this is our momentum conservation. So that was your section B, and the last we are having section C, that is about 3 marks, 2 questions. Section C, let me discuss with you. Section C, 3 marks questions. The question number 10, it is about to drive all 3 equations of motion by graphical method. So we have drive them earlier also. I will again drive 3 equations for you really quick. Let us say velocity is changing from u to v in t time. Then by the definition of acceleration, we know that change in velocity by time taken. So we can write it like at is equal to v minus u, or v is equal to u plus at. That is your first equation of motion, right? Now for second equation of motion, we know that velocity time graph, area gives us displacement, and if I will calculate the area, this area is divided into 2 parts, this triangle and this rectangle. So a rectangle is having length and breadth u and t, so area of rectangle is ut, plus area of triangle is half into base is t into height. Height is v minus u, so into में v minus u, and from this equation v minus u can be written as at. So ut plus half t into at, so that becomes s is equal to ut plus half at square. That is your second equation of motion. And also area can also be calculated, we can also calculate by the formula of area of trapezium. Area of trapezium is the sum of parallel half into sum of parallel sides into distance between them. So sum of parallel sides is going to be u plus v, because one side is u and other side is v. Distance between them is t, and we can write t v minus u divided by a from our this equation. So half u plus v, and value of t we can write v minus u divided by a. So if this 2a will go on this side, left hand side, it will become 2as, and a plus b and a minus b, the formula of a square minus b square. So that is your third equation of motion. I hope you have done this question correct. And the last question we are having, what do you understand by Newton's second law of motion? We know that according to Newton's second law of motion, rate of change of momentum is equal to force applied write it equation in terms of. So पहले तो what do you understand by Newton's second law of motion? According to Newton's second law of motion, rate of change of momentum is equal to force applied. F is equal to P2 minus P1 divided by T. That is the formula for Newton's second law of motion, and the definition is question 11. The definition of Newton's second law of motion is that force is equal to rate of change of momentum, in simple words, or any other definition if that is correct, which gives sense to same. So A, force and momentum equation. So that is the equation in terms of force and momentum, P2 minus P1 divided by T. That is your answer A. The answer B is force and acceleration. So force and acceleration, we know that the equation, if I will put the formula of momentum P2, that is mv2, and P1, that is mv1 divided by T. Taking m common, I am left with v2 minus v1 divided by T, and we all know that that is acceleration. So ma, so F is equal to ma is your relation of Newton's second law of motion in terms of force and acceleration. That's it. So if you are having any doubt in this, you can always ask me in the live classes we are having on Monday and Tuesday, and I am going to discuss other numericals with you, and let us work together for scoring perfect 100% marks in your physics subject. It is very easy, just a little practice from your side and we can get very good marks. All the best for your Terminal 1 exams. Like always, thanks for watching and take care of yourself.